I just wanted to introduce you, man, as the rapper, writer, producer, entrepreneur, father, son, visionary.
Right.
That's where we sit in the middle of. So, we here to really talk about our tour theory,
Right.
and I guess we'll start by just asking what that means because clearly I got a hard time even pronouncing it.
Oh yeah. It's auteur. So auteur, for anybody that don't know, it's like in movies you got auteur, that's a director. Like they have a distinct style. You know what I'm saying? They have, whether it be Tarantino with black suits. Most Tarantino movies, somebody got a black suit on. That's his signature style. Or Spike Lee, the double dolly shot when it's like the person is floating and shit. So for me, applying that to music was like, how can I do what I do specifically? What do I, and it took for me to learn who I was as a person, not just a rapper. Cause anybody know, we got a couple artists in here. Y'all know it's not like, oh, rap first. No, you gotta know who you is before you go on a mic or play a piano or paint a picture. Like you gotta know who you are to channel who you are through your work. So I had to learn like what that meant. You know what I'm saying? And it took a lot of digging. You get what I'm saying? And digging and digging and digging. Like what am I doing? You feel me? Cause yeah, you can pursue it as a career path, but what does me getting in tune with who I am and becoming an auteur really mean? Cause it's a cool name and shit, but like, who am I for real, bro? As I'm a man approaching, I'll be 30 next week. It's like, I don't got time to play, dog. Like, I can't play. So I really had to dig deep and figure out what makes me me. What's my definitive characteristics that make me navigate the world? You know what I'm saying? To help me navigate the world.
And so I think, I had this question way later down in the conversation, but I think it's a good time to talk about manhood. In my opinion, manhood is, I feel like you become a man or you walk into manhood when you can define or when you can cement the things that your parents gave you, you leave the house with that. You become a man when you can like take those things and mold them into your own and create like that step forward. But it takes trial and error. It takes living and learning, and that journey looks different for everybody based off their context, meaning like their upbringing and stuff like that. So I want to ask, like, what did that journey look like for you?
Like just becoming a man in general. That's like a loaded ass. That's a lot, dog. And anybody that know, like,
because you needed to
know
many,
that. Yeah, it's so many things that happen throughout the course of your life that shape you as a man or a woman. You know what I'm saying? But specifically, I speak to just manhood, like having a child and really having to like get in tune. Cause a child, that's your reflection. That's you, literally. It's like your copy. So when you see what they do and what their mannerisms, how they move, how they interact with the world, it forces you to look inward. So just being like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, but then having a child really pushed me into figuring that out. And you're not gonna have all the answers, but like that was one of the major things I feel like really put things in perspective. Like, granted, I was, a young man trying to figure life out, working jobs. I went to college, dropped out, just making decisions and shit. But having a child made me make definitive decisions, like stuff that I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna waffle and go back and forth about the shit. Like, I'm doing this. And however it go, I'll adjust, I'll make, but I'm not finna start and then stop and then start and then, cause that shit, A, is just not respectable. B, is you're not gonna get nowhere. It's like it's a zero-sum game. So
absolutely. So I think that goes along with saying, like, once you submit like the new version of what your parents gave you, that's it sounds like that's exactly what what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
once you figured that out. But I think when you become a father, a lot of things happen. Speaking from a father's perspective, also.
Right.
I started to look at Not only what my children are showing me, but I'm looking at my relationship. But then I also gain more grace and understanding from my parents, and just understanding that they are truly just human beings doing the best that they can. And,
Right.
I wanted to, preface that by asking about, your reflection on your relationship, um, and how that tied into your art. You talk a lot about that in the album.
Right, right.
It's the healing and dealing with a relationship without having to, talk about the actual person. But
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think it that played a big role in me, in my manhood as well. When you deal with somebody long term, that person is like, to a certain extent, a part of you. You feel me? Like, as you grow up with this person, you experience certain experiences with this person. So you kind of, it'd be hard to see life outside of that. And once you outside of that, you be like, what the fuck going on? Because you used to doing everything with this person, and that included art. So when I'm making art, I'm thinking about this person. You get what I'm saying? Because I can't just be like, if you deal with any person on a serious level, they gonna come to mind. Like your community, your parents, your partner, your fucking dog, whatever. That plays a role in what you create. So I think that plays into the auteur theory as well. Was, oh shit, it's just me. Because it's easy to say like, well, I gotta do this, do that, and do that. But when all you gotta do is figure out you, and you left like to your your own devices and your own vices and your own thoughts and your own emotions, and you ain't carrying nobody else shit, it forces you to again look inward. Because when you with somebody, you can say, well, I ain't gonna do that because such and such gonna say this, but when it's just you, it forces you to, like, really.
you in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. In a relationship, I feel like it does shape you, but it can also hinder you in a lot of ways too. But
Enable you in a sense.
it could almost make you question if the path you on is the right path, and that's not nothing to that person. It's just on you as an individual to be honest. And a lot of time, you don't want to hurt. If you're dealing with somebody in terms of dating them, you don't want to hurt their feelings by saying, look, like I said, I'm on my Donnell Jones, that Sweet D. Like, you just like, I'm trying to figure out where I want to be now. That song, to a lot of people, they hate that song, but that record was like how he felt. And he wanted to figure out, like, what does my life look like just on my own? And that can be really, like, you could become the villain in somebody's story with that shit. So that was a lot, you know what I'm saying? To like, cause I be wanting to maintain this, like, I'm Malik, I handle my business, I'm good, I'm go. And it'd be like, bro, fuck all that, though. I gotta figure it out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro, the relationships they can help you grow too. It's not one, it's all relative. But for me personally, I think my relationship, it shaped me to the man I was up until this point, and we had a child together. And then I think when it didn't work out, it forced me to really be honest. Because initially you want to like play the blame game and shit on why something didn't work. People are like, what happened?
Accountability.
What happened?
Ownership.
What happened? I'm like, man, yeah. Like, you ain't got the answer and shit. So, yeah, but at that time, you want a good answer, but you don't have it. So you just gotta work through the mud and the dirt and the grime and figure out, like, okay, what does all of it mean? Not just the relationship, but all of that shit.
I don't want to relapse. I do work every day.
Exactly.
In the dojo. Tell me where I'm gonna lay. What the work look like for you? What does the work look like? And what do you relapse? What does a relapse look like?
On a concrete level, it looks like a literal guy that I talk to about this shit, like a therapist, you know what I'm saying? But in a more like metaphysical, esoteric sense, it's getting grounded and finding a routine and a practice that I can lean on when shit get like, get shaky, you know what I'm saying? Like just putting your feet in the grass in a sense, like
Finding that full body.
Exactly. Whether that be exercise, whether that be meditation, whether that be even your diet, the shit you eat. Like when I'm stress eating and I'm on the road and I'm fast food, my mood is affected by that. So all of that could be a relapse, you know, whatever you lean back into, like, I'm finna go to the bar, I'm finna do this, I'm finna fall into this shit. It could be lust, it's a lot of things, bro. So, like, having to, like, really be honest and not fall victim to those vices and those things, because we all got one. We act like you go to church on Sunday and you here and you there and you just, but that's not realistic, you know what I'm saying? So, just really finding that middle ground where you not so uptight and rigid that you never do nothing, but you still understand the weight of your decisions and not just go anyway because you think you can.
What'd you say? You feel like you got you got a grasp on all of those different variables, or do you feel like sometimes you're running from those things? Not running away from 'em like you can't face them, but there's just so much going on that it's like, you get what I'm asking you or no?
No. I get you 100%. I think sometimes I do feel this vibe like I won't even like it's running. Yeah, it wasn't.
Fine. I got it.
Yeah, it's just looking for them distractions. You know what I'm saying? Like looking for them things that fill that void for that moment. Even though you know it's for the moment, you like, man, I ain't trying to deal with all that shit, man. I'm gonna just do this today and then I'll figure it out tomorrow. And then I'm gonna do this today and figure it out tomorrow become like weeks and then months. And then before you know it, it's a habit.
Yeah,
and then you just fucking doing it.
You finding ways.
And then you know the community, you know where you come from the inner city, it's like, oh fuck that shit, bro. Hey, blow one with me, we can you feel me? You know what I'm saying? So it's like having to like veto that, like, no, bro, I'm gonna go over dude finna go over there and work on himself. Square ass nigga.
I ain't a factory. They ready for anything. Get folks trying to read a couple pages. How you want to read a paragraph? But so I guess the next question is, what's up with the Rosies? Like, how we end up with all that on me?
Oh man.
At that stand.
Just look, I mean, you see,
Tell them
you
about
see, so I mean, it derived from the Tupac poem, the concrete rose, the rose that grew from concrete. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Gemini, and I just, resonate with Geminis, the crazy niggas that just, they turned up, but then they calm and peaceful. Then they turned up, and Pop was the ultimate version of that. So he just was somebody that somebody that float over our culture. Like, it's like a myth. They almost, like, I see him like, this nigga is not a real person, bro. Like, he didn't walk this earth, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just his vibe, so that poem just spoke to me because being from Milwaukee, the statistics, you're not supposed to, that and I'm from 53206, so that they did a doc on that just being the highest incarceration rate for black males. So I'm not supposed to have this insight or understanding, but I do. Granted, my foundation has a lot to do with that, and my community that people say is a detriment that we can't make it out of. So that poem spoke to me. Just, have you ever heard of the rose that grew from the concrete? Because the concrete is, you don't see roses in concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally. So that shit spoke to me because Milwaukee is not a place where it's not an incubator for at least what we trying to do, like expression and art and shit like that. You could go get a warehouse job. You could work blue collar. You know what I'm saying? This is a blue collar. It's a Midwest. You feel me? So it get tough, but that I still have that belief that some shit can happen here if you tell the story the right way and frame it.
So now, I mean, you had me walk right into this, basically,
Right.
talking about, the type of jobs and the work that you can get, and me knowing your work for real. There is some other material that you haven't really let a lot of people hear.
Right.
And it talks a lot about your experience in that state, working those warehouse jobs, and not, talk about that and not really fucking with that. Like, I need.
Yeah,
to
just that. Yeah. When I dropped out,
What's the name of the project?
rhythm and poetry for the ghetto children. Yeah, for sure. When I dropped out of college, you think like, I'm gonna go do my thing. Then your thing become like, how the fuck I'm gonna do this thing? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta go get a job and quit playing around. Cause you know what I'm saying? You gotta get a job, nigga. What are you talking about? Get a job. So, I had to go into the workforce because I was a hooper. So hooping is a gift and a curse because you get school paid for. I had a scholarship. But once you stop, it's like PTSD. Niggas don't know what to do. I know some hoopers are burnt out, like don't know what to do with their life because they devoted so much time. And I devoted a lot of time to hooping, bro. It almost feel like another life. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So when I stopped that, and then I went to school, I'm like, okay, this square ass man. You can wear a suit and tie and then a kiss up to the white man, all this other shit. But you gotta get a job, bro. Still, you can feel how you want to feel. You gotta get a job.
What was you working on?
Get a job, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So just to finish the point, I went and worked these jobs. Amazon, the Roundies, FedEx, nigga, 12 hours, rain, sleet, snow. Bro, no, bro worked that FedEx. And he worked that FedEx. Like, where's Travis? I don't know. He said, no, I quit. It was 2 weeks. He was there for 2 weeks. Hey, but it's just like you go to these jobs and then every day feel like the same day, bro. It's like, I'm like, no, it's fun, bro. I'm just here.
I got the same dirt on my hands from yesterday. I'm picking up the pallets.
So, like, working that over time, it got to the point where I'm like, fam, something gotta give, bro. Like, for real. I don't, because we ain't getting no younger. Like I said, I'm gonna be 30 next week, so I'm like, I need to figure out how to not do this. And but when you ain't got no skills, you dropped out of school, and you ain't gonna go do the HVAC or get a CDL or apprenticeship or something, and you trying to be so prideful about what you want to do, that shit get real.
So then what did you do? Talk about your business.
It is funny that you asking me, because it's not something that I talk about.
Exactly.
So when I had my child, my girl at the time, who my child's mother, she had suggested getting into NEMT. Because I was already driving. Like I said, I worked FedEx, Amazon. I was already driving for a living. I did Uber for like a year. I was just on the road. So she like, you might as well do this. You can make more money, whatever. So I get into it. And it's immediate in the pandemic. Mind you, I have a new baby. I start a business and I move in the pandemic. So at the time, I'm just trying to do the baby. When your baby on the way, you like, I got to do something now. But you ain't thinking about the long term, like, oh shit, I'm over leveraged. I didn't did too fucking much, but I did it in the middle of the pandemic and I started it. And it was like, what am I doing? Again, it's that feeling. I feel like life is a constant just thrusting yourself into what am I doing until it start making sense. And then you get used to that and then you do it again. So I started this thing and it was like, I'm just, pushing old people in wheelchairs, bringing them to their appointments. Like that, in essence, that's what it is. But what it really showed me was how to handle things with care. This is my grandma. You drop some like grandma, that's your ass. You feel me? So like having and I didn't drop people.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Straight up. Not grams, not guilty. There's somebody grandpa, but
you know
still,
what you got? Hold on.
Hey, no, somebody hit the eject button on him in the chair.
Oh, man.
I'm driving.
Seat up.
Somebody hit it and he just, whoa! I look back, cuz on the ground. So this is what I'm dealing with, on top of trying to figure out how to be a father and be an artist, and this super delicate, super like touchy business where every little minute matter. Dialysis, 5 a.m. They have to be there. If they don't go, they go 3 times a week. If they don't go, it's a chance they could die in real life. And I'm driving. So I'm like, I can't breathe. I have to stay calm and drive. I'm not a paramedic, but I'm damn near. A little more training, you know what I'm saying? So that really put a lot in perspective just on actual life, you know what I'm saying? And my mortality. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that I'm like, we're Karen now. She gone. And you didn't develop relationships with these people. How you doing? How your day going? I fuck with Karen dog and all that. So it grounded me, bro. Like for real, like it really put things in perspective. And it's a lot of work, but it's fulfilling for real.
Yeah. So, while he told that story, I just want to kind of come behind that and say, you kind of like dumbed it down, and I ain't like that.
Go.
And I just want to affirm it. Like, so I just want to come behind that and affirm that this man started a business. He has a business where he picks up people who can't transport themselves.
Right.
Standalone business. Get it on his own. That's what he did. He didn't start a thing. This is your life.
No, yeah. 5 years.
And after you explained that all, that showed that, okay, you have to learn how to treat things with care. But also there's pressure to that.
Right.
That pressure led to what? Talk about the experiences you had that you put in your art on Auteur Theory about the times you were on the road that kind of changed your life.
Oh man. So I feel like I was, like I said, in the midst of trying to do so many things at once. I was like spread thin, so I wouldn't be sleeping the best. I would be trying to do so much, and then to do what I'm doing, this costs money. All this up here costs. Like all this. So it look cute, you feel me? Yeah, but it costs. So I would be doing so much work with the business, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul and shit. I'm crashing vans. You know what I'm saying? So I crashed the van twice on the same date. June 21st, 2023, June 21st, 2024, in the same location. I was going to Madison when I crashed the first time. No, I was leaving Madison. I was going to Madison the second time. In the same location. So it was like one of them things like God trying to tell me something with this, because the same date, the same location, the same. So I get to like going through my whole little thing like, what do this mean? And the thing was like finding balance with my work and my actual life, because I'm trying to go hard this way and hard that way with no like buffer or nothing to stop me from doing it, because I'm driven. I'm an athlete. I'm like, I can do it. I don't care. But you a human being. Like, yeah, granted, I hit the car going 80. Head on. You feel me? Like, rearing this lady going 80. I leave the hospital. Go to the police. What time? It's 6:21, June 21st. So all these things hit me simultaneously. And I walked out the hospital that day, so it feel like, yeah, I was in an accident, but it also feel like, well, how the fuck I just... And I went to the impound or the tow guy. He was like, I don't even know how you here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he straight up told me that. Like, I don't even know how you here. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? No. But no, for real though, like, it really shifted my perspective on like slowing down. And what that actually mean, like, no amount of money, no amount of acclaim. I can have 100 people in here right now. It's not worth it if you don't feel good with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of it really matters. So
the last question, or the last thing I'll bring up, is you just making it flow. It brings it right into my question about the outro to the hour 22 questions, where you talk about these things that you just shared with everybody.
right,
But it's a lot of what ifs.
right.
A series of what ifs. What happened with that? Like, what made you, come up with this beautiful piece of art?
I think I want to just cover a lot of ground, because like what rap specifically is a very tight form of music. It ain't like free jazz. We could just play what you want and it just go off for 8 minutes. Like, you have to like 16 bar, 8 bar, So I'm like, shit, how can I sum all of this up without being long-winded? Because it's little vignettes of stories of my life. I'm like leapfrogging from different points of life, different ages, and really tapping into different shit to like tell one thing, say one thing with it. So that was like, okay, all of this happened. Why? To bring it back to the original conversation. Why is all of this happening? Why am I crashed through this van? Why did I have this breakup?
That's a part of doing the work.
Why is this? This is all work. This is me digging, like I said, to become an auteur. I'm digging to figure out, why am I here? Essentially. Because I went through this phase where I just got real existential. Like, my granddad had passed, and I start reading about death and all this wild shit. Like I just was like, I got infatuated with like just this kind of nihilistic viewpoint. I didn't realize I was grief and me grieving connection to my ancestor. So I just was like, damn, bro, because I was working at the warehouse. Like I said, you don't see the sunlight. You wake up, you're in the warehouse again. So that in conjunction with my granddad dying, it put me in this like very dark, kind of like detached point of view, like this detached mindset where I just didn't know. So that song, 22 Questions, is like answer to all of that. Like, what if this did? What if that didn't happen? What if this did happen? Then really thinking about it, because a lot of times we don't like to think about the questions, and that's what therapy like kind of showed me is therapy is a series of, well, how did that make you feel?
Thought-provoking questions. That
Well, what if it wasn't that way? Well, what is that? And you be like, nigga, I ain't think about all that. So now you now you gotta think about it. So that's that song. Like, think about the things that make me feel, because memories is either attached to something that made you really, really happy or really, really sad. Cause my memory be fucked up. They're like, you remember this league? I'm like, no. They're like, you remember me? I do not. I promise you, my brain done did so much shit since the last time I seen you. I really don't know who you is. But it be certain shit where I'm like, I remember this memory. You feel me? And that made me think, like, what if I never went to Uncle Joe's and, you know, niggas start shooting? Or what if my pops never moved? And what would it be like? Because theoretically, all my pops here with me, like, we a big happy family, but bro was dealing with shit. That's you in that environment. So that affects you, you know? But in theory, you want your pops. So when you a kid, you just want my pops. You don't think about, but when you get older, you like, shit. Hey, that nigga might have made the best move he could have made in that moment. Like, I feel you, pops. Like, I can chop it up with him like a grown man as opposed to like a little kid that's, he said he was gonna do this for me. Yeah. You feel me? Like, as a grown man with a kid, I'm like, damn, nigga, you was getting cooked.
You just getting your ass worked.
I love you though, but he'll tell me, like, he be straight up and it be, that's that lyric, like, trying to steer him straight, but that water reached the levee, because I'm like, Pops, you ain't gotta say all that. But he be feeling that shit. And it's hard for him to shake it because, you know, you get 60, once your life is behind you. So you like, you think about every decision you made and how you could have did it better. You cycling through this over and over and over. So, and you know, these your loved ones, you don't want them to go through this, because I ain't just trying to single out I'm just, you know, using an example, but like, you see this with people all the time, and then as we getting older, I'm seeing this with my peers, like, oh, he going down that path. I gotta get the, I can't, you know, I can't really, I can help as much as I can help, but I'm at that point, bro, where I just can't extend myself. I have too much, I have to do, like, as a man with a child and a business and all these things you name that. I want to help everybody. I can't, dog. I can't. That's how I'm crashing vans. That's how all this shit is happening. So I would be a fool to keep going through this same cycle for my pride and I to prove that I can do it for I can't, though. And that's not weakness. That's, you know, that's strength. That's honesty and just knowing that. Like, so, like I said, just to end it, to make a long story short, 22 Questions was me saying, all these things happen. But what if I went up here on this stage with this mic and really committing to this? Yeah. Would I even have this outlook? You feel me? Without finding my purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that just brought it, you know, just bring it all full circle. Yeah.
Just hearing you say, so that basically, you know, you talked about trying to figure out, like, why am I here? And you mentioned not being able to help everybody, but I think why you're here right. is to do what you're doing and what we're doing right now.
Right.
And your art is how you help people. Exactly. So that's how I'm right here, because that's how we connect. When I hear your work, and we're connected in so many ways, so many stories. Right. That whole story about your dad, very similar story that I have.
Right.
You know, a lot of the things, and so that's why it's an honor for me to be right here with you. And I think it's no better time for everybody to see exactly why you're here. We can close the conversation now.
Yeah.
And then do the showing, and we done.
Okay. My God.